spend. Look at these. Anyway, generally, if I spend $5-10 every time I push the letter, I'm gonna like, that's just too much. I'm supposed to be spending, I'm supposed to be saving. So I'm gonna say no to temptation, no to the bakeries, no to the takeaway stores, and just, yeah, just save it for another day or the end of the week. Or I might do it once. Or I might be doing stingy. It's a good thing to practice being stingy though, because then you're like, it's a good thing to practice being stingy because then you won't have to suffer your bad decisions of split buying. If you're on a budget or on a particular income, then it's a really good idea to get used to that. Like throughout this year, I've basically been splurge buying for the whole entire year on things I don't need, but I wanted to have, and at some time I could afford it, but that was before I went through my financial lapse. But it definitely catches up with you when you splurge. You're like, I know. I'm not planning on buying to see what there is. Oh, this red. I think I bought a coffee here once. It was alright. It wasn't like great. It was okay. The idea was to buy a secondhand car so everything's well worn and used and comfortable to use. Otherwise, everything might be stiff and new and brakes don't work properly. You're not used to working because it's new. But I don't think I ever got through my problems with driving, so now I just ignore it. I can waste my money on something else. Despite the fact that it's a fairly cheap expense to do the public transport thing now, but it used to be averaging, $50 or $80 a week, and now it's like a few dollars a day, $20 a week. I think if I live on my own, I'm gonna have to do more planning, so nothing is too high in expense. And I'm definitely gonna grow some plants for the fruit and vegetable planting. So if I get short from eating a lot of bonsai fruits, that's why you are what to eat. But essentially the idea is compact and sustainable, or whatever. And $20 for a year's worth of fruit and vegetables is not that high in expense when you realize when you buy it. It costs $30 or $50 a week. So planting isn't a bad idea, it just takes a little while for the seeds to grow. I generally pick tomatoes, peas, beans, anything on a vine that can be plucked really easily is usually the options. Now that I'm used to eating things other than lettuces for the lettuce, I'm like, I don't need lettuces, I can just, grow the easy to grow flowers whose leaves you can eat. For instance, nasturtiums are really healthy and they're just as good as lettuce. My lilies have been in the new pond for a few days now, and they've really grown. They've gotten a lot longer, there's more roots. They generally do look healthier, but they don't look healthy, they're all spotty and weird, and that can be bacterial options. So I might end up splurging for a small pond filter and put a log in there to rest it on and filter it. But there were little red worms crawling all over them, and I don't know what kind of worms they are, but there are a couple of little worms on them, and they might be doing something to trigger health roots, I guess. But I'll most likely have to leave the lilies here when I leave. And they don't really dwarf. I mean, they're supposed to be dwarf, but they get pretty big. So leave the other person to figure out what to do with them. But sometimes I do take the lilies with me. It depends where I live, whether it has space, whether you have a backyard, or whether it's an apartment, which I'm telling myself not to move into. But for convenience, I could wind up in an apartment. But I don't usually like apartments. It's usually a waste of time. They're usually unreliable. And when it comes to cycling seasons, weather boards are only sometimes work, they don't always work. It's iffy. I'd possibly had a 30% weather board success in the case of a storm. So like it's better than nothing, but doesn't mean that it will be keep it safe. So look at that sky. Nice sky for a walk. It's not too sunny, it's not too cold. The overcast makes the sun lightweight. So when I was on holiday, there was this place that was for rent. It's near the resort, but I've stayed there before. And as soon as you get in there, they try and beat you out because the weather is pretty risky. You know, you always get bothered by someone who's really like not as good as it looks like it would be. It always looks like, oh, this could be like a really good idea because you're near the beach, near shops, near transport. You can be on a holiday a few times a week. But then you get in there and you're like, it's no good. It floods. Everything's crappy. There's no security. Them neighbors bother you. I looked at it and I was like, I rented that before. It sucks. As much as I would want to live in a vacation zone, I don't have much confidence that it will be any good. They'll probably just move in, sit down, and be targeted for robbery or something by a nosy neighbor who's already got their eye on you because it's a weather-prone zone. So, you know, they naturally get nosy about the neighbors to ensure that they're safe during bad weather. I used to own this property, but it wasn't any good. As soon as I bought it, like a tornado, it ripped keep the trees out of the ground. It's really crappy. And then the farmer came along and said, I'll buy it. I really like what you've done with the place, and I want to live there. And I was like, by the time you get through weather problems, like, you know, if the insurance doesn't hike up beyond affordability, you're like kind of done with the place anyways. I've moved in and out of so many places. Like, I used to live here, I used to live there, I used to live up the street in a couple of houses. There used to be a side street that isn't there anymore, and I bought one house there, so it's amazing. I just move into some place and I get bad weather right away, and then that leaves you on a broken limb. And you're not that handy with tools, so it's like, yeah, it's pretty stressful. It always looks perfect, but then when you realize it isn't, you're like, you feel bad.